So before we jump into the important topic that is Mike Glover again. And our last episode was just Groundhog Deja Vu. Look, Deja Vu again. We're talking about Mike Glover again. And it's his fault again. Welcome back to the He's Wrong, She's Right podcast. I'm Andrew. This is my lovely, beautiful, amazing, incredible, sexy wife, Nona. She is also a host of this show, if you didn't know that. But you guys all know that because you watch us all the time. Anyways, Nona, I want to open off the show with the 6 words every woman loves hearing the most. I was right. You were wrong.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm just kidding. I was wrong. You were right. We did need the real, blackout type curtains to... The cameras just can't handle it. Look, her hair's not crinkly anymore because I hung those up earlier. We look way better. The camera colors are better.
When he ordered sheer curtains, I was like...
I didn't order them. I went to Walmart.
Oh, I thought you ordered them off of Amazon. I don't know. I remember walking into the house and them being on the table, and I was like, this is literally not going to do anything. Why would... In what world would you think that sheer was going to help?
Like how those have diffusers on them. That's what I was trying to do. I thought it was going to work, and then it didn't. So anyways... You're welcome. I said it publicly. She didn't even know I was going to say that, guys.
Nope, had no idea. But your intro was just highly speculative to begin with. So I was just like, what is...
Who would speculate on anything? Anyways.
I was wondering what on earth you were getting to with the big, amazing blah, 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 my wife, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, God, what is he about to say?
So before we jump into the important topic that is Mike Glover again. And our last episode was just Groundhog Deja Vu. Look, Deja Vu again. We're talking about Mike Glover again. And it's his fault again. But before we get into that, you guys should go and find you. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, there you go.
Rebel Without a War. Is that what that says?
Yes. Go get you a beautiful shirt from American Lichter. I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking for a new apparel company after no longer buying from Fieldcraft. So, shameless plug. I don't get anything from them. They're not paying me to do this. I just like the guys. They're great. So, check them out. American Lichter. I'll put links everywhere so you guys can check them out. Nona.
Yes, Andrew.
Mike was arrested again, and we didn't know about it.
We had no idea.
It's crazy.
Was it while we were in Puerto Rico?
It was. It was while we were in Puerto Rico.
Okay, so we were actually enjoying our vacation, not paying attention to any news circulating. Yeah. But apparently nobody else really knew about it, right? Yeah,
they kept it pretty much under wraps. I don't even remember how I learned about it last year when he was arrested for the incident with his girlfriend. I genuinely don't remember. I think it might have been a Reddit post or something like that. And if you guys go back and watch that video, for one, the audio is probably really bad, but we've upgraded and got all kinds of new things since then. But if you want to, I'll link that video down below so you guys can go check that out again, rehash all of that. We're not going to do that on this. Long story short, that case is still playing out. It's a sealed court docket for DCFS, I think is what it's called. Department of Family Child Services court in Utah.
Right.
So nothing that comes of that will ever be public other than what happens to him. And I made the statement a while back that you'll be able to tell what happened to Mike based on the content that he puts out and what he does moving forward with Fieldcraft.
Right. And right before Christmas, you asked me what I noticed about his videos. And I said I'd never followed him. I didn't know. So I wasn't really able to compare. And you pointed some things out. And then it happened, just a couple weeks later?
So in November, he posted a video called Picking Up the Pieces or something like that, or Life Moving On. I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. If you want to go find that video, you're more than welcome to, but it's probably not worth your time. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like November 27th or 29th or something like that.
Okay.
And then, of course, barely 30 days later, he reportedly abused, according to court records and the police statement, he abused his 5-year-old daughter physically, causing harm intentionally or knowingly, is what it said.
And it doesn't go into any more detail, just says that.
No. So I read Kay paid to pull the docket and all the records. So there are actually 2 filings. So I think this is actually going to make whatever else is going on move faster, maybe. So there's a sealed case and the public case.
Oh.
There's no indication of what is in the sealed case, though, so it could be worse. It could just be a duplicate. Kay's not sure. There's no way for any of us to find out. So it's purely speculation, not worth us dwelling on that point. But the fact of the matter is, at some point between when he posted the picking up the pieces video and getting arrested again, he did post a video somewhere, and it was like how to store your guns in your home. And it was him walking into his gun room. So at some point, he did get, or is just an idiot and did it anyways, he did get permission to have his firearms returned to him. So that all played out. And now he has another case open against him where there's a restraining order filed.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So it doesn't really say. So the incident happened on, I'm pulling my phone out. The incident happened on December 27th in Utah, and he was arrested and charged for it on December 30th. Yeah. And then he had an initial court hearing for January 7th. And then he had a promise to appear for January 25th. The next hearing scheduled is for March.
Oh, wow.
So I would assume whatever's going on with family court and this is going to be combined together into one big, but so one of the comments that I saw people brought up were, the phone call while he was in jail the first time.
Right.
And all the claims and statements that he made and people made on his behalf saying, oh, it was a mistake or this didn't really happen or this and this and that.
Are any of them speaking up currently?
I haven't seen any of them. The only thing that I've seen, and I told you about this video, they changed the mic cast or something. I don't remember what it was. It was he has like 3 or 4.
A YouTube channel?
Yeah, he has 3 or 4 YouTube channels. And so one of them, they completely took and removed his name from the branding and changed the name of it.
Okay.
And the new CEO of Fieldcraft, Greg something, it's in Kay's thread, Greg Lapin, who I don't know much of. I did watch part of the video to see what he was going to say. And of course it was. And this was dated January 29th.
Oh. So obviously after the arrest.
Yep. So his statement was that Mike was stepping down from the company to pursue other ventures and family matters.
To go to jail.
Yeah. Like just straight-faced lying to your customers.
That's, wow.
Yeah. And the comments for it, overwhelmingly initially, there were 2 kinds of comments. There were people that were like, oh, if Mike's not going to be here, I'm unsubscribing. Gotcha. And there was others who were like, oh, I'm so happy for Mike moving on to new, better things.
Okay.
And then there was a wave of people coming through saying, hey, we just saw this arrest. What's going on with that? What are you covering up?
And what did they say to that?
They haven't responded. I don't think they actually responded to any of the comments. Valhalla VFT, who, if you guys remember, grifted on this last year, basically going against everything that we said. Every time that we were giving an update on what's publicly available, which was truthful knowledge and data from the courts.
From the court records.
Yeah.
Right.
It's nothing that we made up. It's straight from the court. Nothing, we weren't speculating. It was, he is due on this day. He did this. Here's what the police say. Here's what the judge said. And they're like, no, they're just grifting. They're just trying to make money off of this. Nope. We were literally reading to you verbatim what the court said.
Right.
So he ran that entire time saying, oh, this is all lies and channels that you see talking about it are just lying about Mike and they're trying to make money off of his unfortunate event. It's not an unfortunate event when you are the one committing the crime, dude. Right. So Greg, same thing. And I believe he was a retired police officer. So
not a good look.
Yeah. So now you have a retired cop running your company as the CEO, and he's lying on your behalf, knowing what you were arrested for.
Yeah, that's
There's
really
no
not
way
good.
he didn't know. Because how do you even go into that meeting and say, hey, I'm going to step down? Right?
Do you think possibly he was forced to step down? Like they said, we caught wind of this.
Didn't I say last year?
Didn't
I say last year that that's what he needed to do and to stay out of the public light, and he fucking didn't do that?
Yes.
Dude, what are the rules of committing crime? First of all, don't commit a crime. if you do crime, don't talk about your crime.
Correct.
And then do everything you can to stay out of the public eye. He very clearly wanted to try and maintain the image of Fieldcraft. He very clearly wanted to maintain his personal image by using other people within both the influencer industry and special operations to speak on his behalf. Now, the same can't be said about Tim Kennedy, especially not anymore. People were sticking up initially for Tim because he's like the poster child, or was the poster child of special operations.
Okay.
And now that the details have really come out and people have dragged him for it,
Okay.
then they're like, oh, pull his tab. And I think that they should be calling for the same thing of Mike.
Damn. Okay.
And I reached out to the guys from Anti-Hero because they were the ones that really drilled down on the Tim Kennedy stuff. I'm the one with probably, other than Nick and Tim themselves and maybe Sarah Verardo and a handful of other people, I probably have the most knowledge of what really happened, both with some of his stories, with the book and everything like that, because I was there for the book stuff.
Did they do anything on the Mike Glover case originally?
I don't believe so, but their channel had also just kind of started just prior to that. They were a little bit earlier than us, but that was when they were really starting to their followers really started to spring up. So
do you think they will for this time?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, they do a really good job of actually investigating and looking into information. So if they do, I'm sure it won't come out this week, or they do one weekly live.
Gotcha.
So they might, and I think that's on Thursdays. It's like Thursday, 8 p.m. or something like that. I could be wrong. But I'm sure if something is going to come out, the first opportunity that they would do it, at least on a full length video, would be on Thursday.
Right.
They might do some shorts or some other posts or ask questions or whatever. But other than that, I don't know. And I also don't know their operation, how they work, anything like that. I've had a singular phone conversation with, I can't think of his name now, Brett. So outside of that, like I don't really know much about their I know a little bit about their podcast, but I don't know how their operation works. I don't know, if they have a backlog of content that they're trying to get through. I don't know any of that. So, I think that they should be, I think the special operations Green Berets, they should be seeking to pull Mike's tab. He should no longer be able to claim that he's a Green Beret. He should no longer be able to claim any of that because that's unbecoming of himself and of the organization. It's unbecoming of the Army. It's unbecoming of special operations. And it genuinely brings shame to that entire organization. They are supposed to be the most professional unit that we have in the United States military. Their motto for the longest time was silent professionals. They do their job. They don't talk about it. They don't write a book. They're not the Navy SEALs.
Gotcha.
But of course, Mike has several books.
Oh.
Of which Greg was still pushing in the description of the video of Mike stepping down.
Really?
Yep. His book Prepared. Pushing.
Not a good look.
Yeah. So you have to cut ties with people. You can say, hey, if you get through court, right, and you are found to be not guilty, or the charges are dismissed and dropped or whatever because it never actually happened, right? It never actually goes to trial because it was, somebody made the phone call and it was all untrue, or the kid tripped and fell or whatever. Like, that's what you do is you say, hey, you're going to disappear for now. We're not going to talk about your product. We're not going to talk about you. We're not going to do anything. You're just gone until it's resolved. And if it's not resolved, the company needs to come out and put out a statement and say, hey, this is what happened. They do have what's called a fiduciary obligation to owners, shareholders, whatever. I don't think they're a public company, but you still have a financial responsibility to continue to make money for the people that are invested into the organization.
Right.
That being said, one could look at this and say, you're not actually doing what's in the best interest of the organization, because the backlash that's going to come now is going to cause more financial damage than if you had come out right away and said, this is what's going on. So by kicking the proverbial can down the road, all they've done actually is cause more financial harm, which people could sue for. Whoever's invested in the company could potentially sue for. And I totally would, because you don't want to give the appearance that you're affiliated or associated.
That you're condoning child abuse.
Yeah.
That right there,
Yeah.
run far away.
Yeah. You step away. And I mean, okay, let me walk back real quick. Taking a Mike Glover named YouTube channel, right? And then rebranding it because you want to capitalize on those existing followers. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's so insincere. That's so fucked up. We want to keep his followers, keep his following, and build off of that. We don't want to start over. We don't want to really remove him. We want to use what he created, and we want to take it and run with it and grow it and build it even more.
Well, hopefully there's a mass exodus from it.
The comment section, like I said, seemed to be kind of divided. But I believe that when people, okay, let's pretend that what happened last year was an accident. Let's pretend. Okay. Mike made a mistake, or the door slammed, or her arm was actually broken prior, or stress, whatever. Doesn't fucking matter what people speculated. It doesn't matter. Let's pretend for a moment that, wow, this is a complete accident. Okay. Only for 8 months later, you to do it to your child? Nah. March, April last year was not an accident now. It's not coincidental. Clearly he has
A pattern.
Yeah. A pattern of behaviors. He has probably anger issues of some kind, but a 5-year-old dude, what could a 5-year-old possibly be doing?
I cannot imagine.
Yeah. Jared LaMarche said his brain is probably made of mashed potatoes. So, how can you in any world put yourself in that situation, knowing what you're still continuing to fight in court for what you did last time?
I'm only going to assume at this point that it's been transpiring for years and years, because if he had no problem doing it while he was under a fine-tooth comb and being examined by the entire world, then he had no problem doing it prior to that.
Potentially. I mean, we can't really speculate on that. That I'm sure stuff like that will come out in the courts and stuff, assuming it makes it that far. But the fact of the matter remains, I don't know what the statute of limitations is for things like that in Utah, like abuse and sexual abuse and things like that. I genuinely don't know, because every state, every jurisdiction is different. Right. But I know for things like sexual abuse, there's no statute of limitations like in states like North Carolina. So there's the potential that in the future, years down the line, his other children could come forward now that they're old enough or whatever, and not fearful of him anymore because they have their own incomes, or they're not worried that they're not going to have a roof over their head because they're children, right? So there's always the possibility that more comes out in the distant future. I mean, the fact that when we saw on the court filings, who he claimed was his wife, which we don't believe that to be true. There's no record of them actually being married, and there's no common law marriage in Utah.
Right.
So they have 2 separate residents. Whether that's because of the ongoing case or because she actually wanted to get away from him, we can only speculate. We don't know. But on the filing, it does show that the child was living with the girlfriend, wife person at a very different residence than what Mike is living at. So that to me looks like, if nothing else, a temporary separation, if not permanent separation.
I'm going to hope for permanent.
Well, at this point, yeah.
Again, I'm going to hope for permanent.
What mother in their right mind would let him back around the child? Any of them. His ex-wife and however old their kids are, there's no way. There's no way. She can't let them around him. Dude, like, you fucked up, man. You fucked up. You absolutely fucked up. There's nothing else anybody can say. You did this to yourself. And there is no apology. There is no anything that you can do or say that can rectify the situation other than you actually facing the judgment that the court gives you. Which now better be harsh.
Yes, I hope they throw the book at him.
It might not have been before, but now it better be. And actually, I want to pull up real quick. Since I haven't been on Instagram really for months, years. Let me see if Mike has posted anything. See, and even on here, there's 3. No, there's at least 2, maybe 3. There's one that the thumbnail is like a baby, so I don't know if that's his or not. But there's at least 2 that are definitely him. There's Mike Glover actual, and then Mike Glover actual 4. Mike Glover actual, that one looks like it's fake. Mike Glover actual 4 also looks like it's fake. He might have deleted his account.
Or he just has you personally blocked. That's also a possibility.
Let's see here. Somebody tagged him. I am not blocked. It's Mike.A.Glover. 451,000 followers.
God, what?
The name, or like the first line of his bio, domestic prepper.
Domestic abuser is what it needs to be changed to.
You should change that, Mike. You should change that. That's no longer applicable. You're not prepping for anything but jail time, buddy. Yep. Host of Mike Glover's Show podcast, and that's the one that was changed. Let's see here. His last post was Christmas Eve.
Okay. So he hasn't been on for a while.
Yep. Well, not to say he hasn't been on.
He just hasn't posted.
Things. Yeah. And I believe, man, I wish I knew where that damn video was posted. So he has a bunch of shorts and clips. Mike Force back as the Mike Glover Show. Appreciate the overwhelming support. Because that was the name of the podcast. I believe that's the one that they changed. Gotcha. So he rebranded it in November only for it to be rebranded again in January.
But that's because he done fucked up again.
Yeah. Oh, Baker liked one of his posts. I'll have to reach out to him, see what he thinks. Baker, if you're
not
watching
a good look.
If you're, it's latest podcast.
I am genuinely curious of the people who did stand by him last spring, who is still standing by him currently. Because
so you brought up in our private conversation earlier. Wow, that's leftover spicy margarita.
What?
Yeah, I poured it into there last night to put when I was cleaning up. We had a game night last night. What was this? Oh, so for those that don't know, bring you up to speed on a couple snippets from last year. Evan Hafer, the CEO of Black Rifle, was the one that bonded Mike out last year. Whether the circumstances of that, whatever, typically what happens is when you're arrested, and in that situation, Mike didn't have time to like prepare anything because he was being arrested like within hours of it happening. Whereas this time he had 3 days. So what I believe, this is a personal belief, whether it's true or not, doesn't really matter. But I believe that Evan thought that he was showing up for his friend. And Mike probably pitched or sold to him, hey, this is not true. You know, and what he even said in his statement, she's crazy, blah, blah, blah. You know, whether or not Evan believed that or not, Evan, by all accounts, everybody that knows him, Evan is kind of like, who we were just talking about the other day? Oh, people were talking about this, like how Matt Carricker is. Matt Carricker is such a family man that like, you know, he'll have like 2 White Claws and be like, I can't drive home, guys. Like, I'm just too wasted and I don't want to put my family at risk and blah. And Evan, by all accounts, family time and stuff like that, he is the same way. So he might have looked at this and said, sure, I'll take my money, your money, whoever's money, whatever, bail you out. You better get this taken care of because I'm not standing by your side if you don't. Now, this time, because the bond was set really low, $1,000, all he needed was 100 to get out, and he had 3 days in advance. So from what Kay said, it doesn't look like anybody else did it on his behalf. So he probably coordinated or paid the full $1,000. I mean, it's not like it's a lot of money. And not for Mike. I'm sure he has plenty of money still. So yeah, he paid in advance to bond himself out, bail himself out, whatever. And because I showed up and I'll continue to show up, it's not crazy big deal. But yeah, knowing that Evan didn't do it this time does make me feel better about Evan. But I think that he probably needs to make some sort of statement now about why he did it last year.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. And guys, I know like Matt Leviner, I know you're probably watching. Some of the other guys, Baker, Levitt, you might be watching. Who knows? But
distance yourself.
They can't. They work for the company. They're invested in the company.
No, I meant distance yourself from Mike Glover. God. Who are we talking about?
I thought you meant Evan.
No. Yeah. Make it publicly known that you are not supporting this person.
Yeah. I would tell Evan that he needs to, oh my God.
Oh, two great guys standing next to each other.
Look at the best buddies. Tim Kennedy and Mike Glover, and I don't know who the other guy is, Pete something. You know who it shows me that it's liked by?
Nick?
No.
Who?
Eric. So hopefully Eric, once the book comes out, gets out of all that, unweaved from it. I don't want to say anything bad about Eric because I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just starstruck right now.
Okay.
That's what.
I mean, you were a little bit in the beginning too.
Yeah, and that's what what's his name from Anti-Hero said as well. When he and I had the conversation about it, and I talked about how Eric had told us some of the stories about the podcast he had been on. I asked him explicitly if it was their show that he talked about getting the pistol from, which if you guys haven't watched that interview with Eric Tansey from last spring that we aired in the fall, like October.
It was my birthday.
It was in August when we aired it? Okay. So if you haven't seen that yet, go back and check that out because those are some really funny stories with Eric from all different kinds of ventures and things. But he talked about how they gifted him I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was Staccato. I think it was a pretty expensive firearm, but there was something else special about it. And it was like for being a guest on the show. And it's essentially just a prop. Like they just give it to you to be like, hey, thanks for coming on the show. And they do it on the show. And
he didn't get to keep it?
No, he told us that. He said, sorry, that,
it was a wine tasting. There was a lot of wine happening.
That was 4 hours long as well.
Yeah. So excuse me for not remembering all the details. I remember that he received a gift. I didn't hear or remember that he didn't actually get to keep it.
And of course, because Eric is a really good storyteller, hearing it come from his mouth is way funnier. Right?
I agree.
That's actually why he got picked up by Drinking Bros years ago to do their sports show and some other stuff. And then he spun off the cop show stuff because he's really good storyteller. He's really funny to be around. He's got, to the best of my knowledge, he's got a great character. I've never actually heard anybody say anything bad about him. So, yeah, I am curious what you guys think in the comments. Coincidentally, we have some milestones coming up, and we also have our 4,000 subscriber giveaway that ends this week. So the timing, once again, for a Mike Glover fuck up and for things to happen to our show, it's like the stars align because Mike is an idiot.
Well, before we sign off, I think you should pull up the poll that you put up this morning. He asked, who was the biggest grifter?
Yep.
Mike Glover, Tim Kennedy, Nick Palmisano,
Malcolm Nance.
And Malcolm Nance.
Sorry, I'm reading the thread from Kay. So by the way, guys, Kay, he does like all of our investigation stuff for us. He's a federal contractor. He's been on an episode. If you look back, it's like F-35 program something.
I think it aired in July.
Yeah, he was on that, and he was on the live during the election with me. What else was he on? Maybe just those two. But we quote him and bring up information from him all the time. So he does all the investigative work, not for us. He does it as part of like his little side hustle or his personal hobby. And we just are able to get this information from him. He's a great guy as well. Let's see here. Where is my thread? Okay. Let me refresh this. So I posted this time of recording 3 hours ago. Yeah, 10:37. So almost 4 hours ago.
Okay.
Or no, just under 3 hours ago. 22 votes so far. And Malcolm Nance is in first place with 55% of the votes. Mike Glover, 9% of the votes. Tim Kennedy with 36% of the votes. Nick Palmachano with 0. However, Nick and Tim kind of go together. So I'm gonna call it 36 for Tim and Nick. However, somebody brought one up that I completely forgot. The captain.
The captain? Who's the captain?
Ralph Avalone. The guy that was grifting for Western North Carolina, stealing all the donation money and embezzling it all. This guy.
No.
I told you about him. We didn't talk about it on the podcast because it was such a touchy topic for YouTube. They didn't want us to talk about it. They didn't.
Gotcha.
No, Nona's episode talking about it and trying to raise money for it and everything got our lowest views of any video since we started because
they would keep deleting the views every time somebody did watch it, and all because I talked about how upset I was that everybody in Western North Carolina was being left behind.
It was close to. So it would build up views and then they would get deleted. It would build up views and then they would get deleted. At one point it was up near 1,000 views and then last I checked it had like 18.
Yeah, that's wild.
And why they delete views, I don't know, other than to ensure that people don't want to watch it. Because when you're looking in search, right, and you see, oh, this video came out 6 days ago, but it only has 3 views.
And it must suck because there's only 18 views.
Yeah. YouTube, let us know. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? So Ralph should have been added to it. Forgot about it. Oh, well. Poll ends in 7 days. So if you would like to go vote, there will be a link in the comments or link somewhere.
Is it on your personal or is it on
my personal? But I shared it to the podcast page.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you'll see it. If you visit the podcast X account, you'll see it. If you visit my personal one, you'll see it. And also if you visit the nonprofit X account, you will see it.
Oh, okay.
So if you see the X account for Veteran Wiki, you'll see it there as well. I should probably pin it. I don't want to pin it on my personal profile because that would remove the pin of your insurance link.
You pin it on the he's wrong, she's right.
Yeah. So guys, let us know what you think. Are you still going to support Fieldcraft? Do you think this is the end of Fieldcraft? Do you think their transition will work? Do you think they'll apologize? What do you think will come of this? Let us know down in the comments. And Mike, if you're watching, you suck.
If he's watching.
He might be. He knew about it last time. I mean, everyone in Black Rifle knew while we were driving to the park, like an hour after the episode came out. I had people from Black Rifle texting me saying, hey, my employees showed me this video that you guys just put out. So, they don't want to comment because they don't want to be caught watching our content, but they know, they see this. So make sure you guys get subscribed. We've got our giveaway going on. Rules and stuff are in the community tab. Check that out. And that is it for us today. We'll keep you guys updated as we get information. Even if it transitions to a closed docket, family court only, we'll let you guys know that way you're not left hanging. So thank you so much for watching, and don't do crime.
Don't do crime, Andrew.
Don't do crime.
Goodbye.
Right. Bye.